Hi everybody, Ryan here with Siege Airsoft. Today we're here for another episode of Chairsoft Chat. My guest today is a member of the Airsoft Collective. For those of you who don't know, Airsoft Collective is a gear making company. They make some pretty cool Kydex as well as apparel and all that stuff. They've been a longtime supporter of Siege Airsoft and have been playing Airsoft for a long time and are made up of really experienced dudes. So for the purposes of this video and because he's still developing a lot of these products, he's asking for his identity to remain anonymous. First question, as with everybody that comes in, how'd you get into Airsoft? I mean, we all love this sport, you know, we all have a history with it, so how'd you get into it?
Yeah, first, happy to be here. Thanks for having me. Airsoft for me started, my dad got me into it. He was playing paintball and airsoft when I was really young, and when I turned about 8 years old, he got me into the sport, and we would play actually twice a week. Every Sunday was paintball, every Tuesday was airsoft at Flag Raiders.
Oh yeah,
so
Flag Raiders is awesome.
Yeah, it was at their second field.
Great guys.
So I was 8 years old, so I've been playing for 21 years.
Jeez.
Yeah, I've been playing a long time.
That's actually really cool how you played with your dad, because I think a lot of our viewers can say out there, even myself, my parents, like, they saw it, like, not gonna lie, I got my first airsoft gun not in the best way. Okay? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then my parents found my room, and they were like,
just
holy shit.
He's got a gun!
Yeah. So for those of you watching, our younger viewers, don't do that. Be transparent with them.
Yes, talk to your parents, let them know that the sport is safe.
Yes. But that's really cool how your dad was into it for a while. And how did he get into it, actually, if you don't
So
let me
when my
ask
dad
me?
started playing paintball, he made really good friends with Joe Kimson, the owner of Flag Raiders.
Hi, Joe.
What's up, Joe? Excited for your new field?
Yeah, super excited.
So when he was playing paintball with Joe sort of... Airsoft was really still getting introduced to the Canadian market, and it was not illegal to play, but sort of semi-illegal to own almost.
Yeah, I think Z has more details about that in his
even
previous
like
video. So.
even Jay from Action Air, he has a lot of information on sort of the early importation of airsoft guns into Canada.
Yeah.
What was cool though is, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, so if I'm not,
Just say it and we can edit it out.
But so my dad actually, when it came to buying like his first couple airsoft guns or maybe airsoft guns for a while, he actually went to the cooler of a meat place. And he was in like the cold
like a meat
room.
like a meat freezer.
I shit you not. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And he met the guy back there and said what he wanted, paid him cash, and that was.
He just pulled out like a Glock.
Yeah.
Like a TM Glock from like a piece of steak.
Exactly. That was exactly it. So it was probably, I think my dad's, I don't know what his first gun was, but I know for us, for the longest time we used TM MP5s, and that was our thing.
Those were
MP5s.
sick back then though.
And I still have my original one. He still has his. And
do they work?
Yeah, man. Yeah, they work.
Yeah.
Not like they'll shoot like 200 FPS, but you know they're.
That's why you got your new MP5.
But then we got the new MP5s, and those VFC ones are killer. So.
Yeah. So you've been playing for a long time, and when you kind of first like started out, like between paintball and airsoft, why'd you gravitate towards airsoft over paintball? I know this because I used to play paintball a bit, but like, what was the reason for you?
I think what it came down to was with my dad and I playing for so long when I was younger, we took a bit of a break while I was in high school, and the accessibility of airsoft when I got into college was a lot easier for me. So like, I wasn't really trying to get back into both. There's a guy named Dan Santos. I don't know if you remember him. He was the guy who hosted the Sergeant Splatters games.
Oh, yeah, Splatters way back. Yeah.
I remember seeing his Facebook picture of him holding an MP5.
Uh-huh.
And I said, holy shit, like, you play Airsoft? Like, where do you play? Oh, I host that on Sundays at Splatters. And that's what got me back into it, was I just said, hey, you know, Dad, you want to go play Airsoft again? Yeah. And we kind of just went through our old shit, figured out what fit and what didn't. Yeah. And we just went on a Sunday randomly, and then it was just non-stop from there. I think what kept us in it was the fact that the guns look awesome, the gear looks awesome, and it was way, maybe not at Splatters, but it was way cleaner, right? Like nothing against Splatters. Nothing against Splatters, but like it's a paintball field, and when it came down to the Sunday night airsoft, it was you run up against one wall and next thing you know, you got to sit on a towel on the way home in the car because you're covered in shit. Yeah. Yeah,
and with the advent of like airsoft exclusive places opening, where we can take advantage of the kind of cleanliness of airsoft. Yeah. And yeah, of course the guns and everything like that. That's a
for sure. And like, it's something that feels really cool about holding a gun that looks like a real gun versus holding a gun with a hopper and the tank. And
or if it's a paintball pistol, they're like really big.
Yeah, clunky.
You know? They're
just
like
kind of
the size of a Desert Eagle is like the size of a small paintball pistol.
Like that's the compact version at the time, right?
Yeah.
Like I know now. I think
there's a lot more out there on the market. Yeah.
Something a bit smaller, but.
Yeah, but
that's
awesome.
That's what left us towards Airsoft.
Yeah. Sure. How was your evolution in gear throughout Airsoft? What did you start with? How did you get to where you want to be? And how did you eventually get to like making your own? I guess we'll get into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like this question. Just considering I've been playing a long time, looking back at
some of the gear that we used to run.
Some of the gear we used to run. So like
cringe gear. We used to run some cringe gear
now.
Yes.
Gucci gear then I would say. Like I had an Eagle vest, like Eagle Industries vest.
Those are still good.
And what's cool about them is I wore one for paintball, one for Airsoft, and which goes to like what I was saying about I like having specific gear. Like for you know what I mean?
Right.
But I had an Eagle Industries vest and it had built-in everything, mag pouches. It had like a shotgun shell rack on one
like a
side.
little shotgun caddy.
Yeah.
You're looking like a COD character. With
literally,
like
and it was all mesh, and I remember because I was so little, when I was 8, obviously, my dad had to like zip tie the vest.
Oh, to cinch it up.
Yeah, and like he had to really fucking ream it with the zip ties because nothing fit me because no one made kids gear at the time. I remember he bought like brown boots, I don't know, like Timberlands or something like that.
Damn, he's airsofting in his Tim.
And he painted he spray painted them black.
Oh,
because there was nothing for kids then that was good.
Right.
So when with that gear, you know, as I got older, we just take some zip ties off. Mm-hmm. Right? And then it eventually started to fit me, and then when I took my little break during high school, and I got back into it, I still had the vest. Mm-hmm. And when I came in, the JPCs weren't even like the repros. They weren't quite a thing yet, too. Mm-hmm. You know, and like fast helmets were just coming in, and I didn't know about any of that.
People were wearing like the big ACH,
so like
helmets.
I had a JT paintball mask, and that's what I wore.
Yeah.
And then JT started an Airsoft one where it was basically just their paintball mask, but I didn't have the.
And you could take the big ears,
the
bottom
and you
off.
could I left the bottom on, but you could take the bottom off, and the Airsoft version just had no ear cover, and that was it.
Yeah.
I wore just the vest, fabric, you know, holster with the buckle.
Yeah.
And a JT mask, and that was my gear leading up till I started playing at Splatters again.
Yeah.
I took 2 really shitty headshots, same spot, center of my forehead at Paintball City one time.
The ones that make you tear up?
Oh, like I remember eating the first one, thinking, "Fuck, that hurt," and then the next game, I was the last guy alive, and I took the shot in the same spot, and I remember being crunched up on the floor,
just crying,
just like holding my forehead because I was in so much pain.
Yeah.
And then that night I ordered a Repro fast helmet.
Yeah.
And that was my helmet, and then because of that the mask didn't fit, so I got whatever brand goggles and a mesh mask. Mm-hmm. So that's how my headgear started to go, and then when we started using the vectors, I had like a chest rig that had the mags, and then obviously my helmet, and we had Blackhawk holsters with the button.
Yeah.
And then as it sort of went on, I wanted gear that was smaller, tighter, lighter, and I got into
making your own, right?
Well, I got into the holsters specifically. That's sort of like a longer story, which I'll get to. But even like with plate carriers, I went from the chest rig to. Which was
like the big chest, not like the little micro Spiritus.
It wasn't the Spiritus size. Yeah. It was like the ones that came across your.
They were the freaking
your abdomen and then came up your chest. And it was pretty hefty still. Mm-hmm. Yes, it sat flush to you, but it was hefty. It had the X harness at the back. And,
and the big straps.
Yeah, exactly. So I went from that to a Repro JPC, and then I made the investment into another Canadian gear maker, Peros Designs.
Mm-hmm. And, great dude.
Yes. So his plate carrier was my first real steel plate carrier.
Yeah.
And then I had a high speed gear belt.
Yeah.
And those were my 2, and then a Wendy helmet. I bought Ray's Wendy helmet.
That was the first injection into it.
Actually, if I'm being honest, the Wendy, the plate carrier, the belt, yes, and then the helmet.
Yeah.
And those 3 were my first 3 introductions to real steel gear. Yeah. The helmet I 100% justified pretty quickly because I hit my head a lot.
Yes. Especially like at low cover stuff.
Low cover,
like that.
I've done it here. Yeah. I've done it at UA. I've done it at outdoor games. I've been like dragged across the floor at Milsims. Like, you want some kind of protection, and not that a repro helmet will do it, but a real bump helmet will really do it for you.
Yeah.
And
you only got one head.
That's it. You only got one head. Same with iPro. I got revisions. You only got one set of eyes, two eyes, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And that's what sort of. I used to be that person that was, why would you spend money on real steel gear?
Yeah.
It didn't make sense to me, and this is when I was using that chest rig, and now that I have it, I 100% can justify it because it's just quality. I'd buy 3 of those chest rigs because they deteriorate so fast. I can buy my one plate carrier now. I've had it for 4 years, 4 or 5 years. So yeah, justified. And
for sure.
It comes with the quality of it. That's what you're paying for.
So I guess the pressing question that a lot of people ask, and a lot of people get a misconception of, sorry, I got something in mind, is does spending money on good gear make you a better player?
I
think it's a difficult thing to answer.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to answer because owning a Cry plate carrier will not make you a better player.
Can you pull it up?
Yes.
Hear it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Owning a Cry plate carrier is not going to make you a better player. But the ability to have things like a plate carrier that is breathable and modular,
easy to shoulder your gun.
Easy to shoulder. It doesn't have the things that Replica or other gear, not quite gear-centered companies have, is the ergonomics of it. So like S-Tac Placard with Kydex inserts. The cummerbund, I have the flat pack on the back. None of this makes me a better player, but it does help with gameplay.
Yeah.
Being able to index and re-index mags and knowing that your gear isn't going to fault. That's what you're getting from this.
It's the security and the efficiency.
Yeah. And yes, you're paying for it, but if you're paying $300 for a Cry vest, you're going to have this Cry vest forever.
Yep. And it retains its value too.
This is never going to go.
Like $270.
Exactly. That's one thing I think airsofters don't realize about guns over gear is guns don't hold very much value.
They don't.
Gear does.
Gear does.
You'll buy night vision for $3,000 and sell it for $3,000 in 3 years.
4,000.
Exactly, but that's what I mean. Like it's a real thing.
And you can only carry realistically one gun into a game, and you can only realistically carry maybe 1 or 2 pistols in a game. One. Let's not be LARPers here. But I think the stuff that you wear, the stuff that carries the load, is actually a lot of the stuff that's taking the most stress, because you're like putting your mags back in, you're ripping them out, you're like ripping your pistol out in game, and you don't want that stuff to fall on you and to fail on you. And we've had that all happen before. You told me the story about the sling, the crappy sling.
So I had a Repro Magpul sling, and I had it on my Chris Vector by KWA, and those were discontinued at this point. And
cool guns though.
Awesome gun, incredible. I still have mine, love it.
It's like you're carrying a math textbook in front of you.
So if you look, it's funny. We'll get back to it, but if you look at my Vector, there's a lot of dimples on the side of it, and I wore it on a 1-point sling at the time, and the way I wore it, it sat right across my chest, right across my body. So there's gun hits all over it. People would aim for center mass, and they're hitting a gun, and they don't. And because I wore black, they didn't. I would yell gun hit. They'd be like, bullshit. I'd be like, come on, bro. Like, look at it. Like, it's fucking huge, and it's across my stomach. Like,
depending on the rules, who knows what happens, right?
But like, regardless. So, the Vector was awesome. What were we saying?
Sorry, lost train of thought because we got lost in gun talk.
Sling. Okay, so.
Sling, yeah.
So, back to the sling thing. I had a Repro Magpul sling, and I put it on the gun, and I walked into my first game with this sling. And I turned a corner, and the sling snapped at the buckle.
Jeez.
Fresh out the package. Snapped at the buckle.
The buckle. Not the strap.
No, the
not
buckle.
Not the tri-glide, but the buckle.
The actual buckle. Snap, Vector hit the floor, 2 pieces. The stock snapped off.
Jeez, and those stocks are super hard to find.
And so I had to order, I couldn't even find a replacement at the time because they were just discontinued, I think, and I had to order the buffer tube adapter, and I put a Battle Link stock on it. So.
I mean, I've been harping on that. Like, the reason why this is a Ferro sling. It costs like $70.
This is a Magpul padded sling.
Yeah,
actual Magpul this time.
That costs probably like somewhere around the same price. But it's like the gun itself. That's an MTW. That costs like $1,000.
They hover around that. Yeah.
My gun is a built LC. It costs like over $1,000, and 100%. With the accessories too.
Yeah, for sure.
Am I gonna trust my investment into my gun on a crappy sling.
Yeah, $20 repro now.
Yeah, it's the same thing with like pouches.
Well, it's like the helmet even,
helmet and
Kydex.
eventually Kydex. So, for those of you who don't know, you actually make some pretty sweet gear, like these mag carriers and holsters and stuff like that. So, what kind of led you to do that? What was the process of it? And I think a lot of people out there, their dream is probably to be like a small business in Airsoft or something like that. So, yeah, if you can explain kind of the history behind Airsoft Collective and all that.
Yeah, so in terms of when we started the company, my business partner and I, it started out as an apparel thing, and we it was almost like an apparel thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Hat, sweater, patches, but it was just like, let's make a couple sort of Airsoft inspired T-shirts, and then just to wear with the guys, and for those, it's one of those right? CQB King.
Yeah.
Not everyone knows what a CQB is, or 6mm. Like no one, only airsofters are gonna know that stuff.
Yeah.
So when it came to making the company, we really just focused on that, and the only Kydex product we had initially was a wallet.
You have it?
Yeah, a wallet.
Oh, cool.
And that's all it was. That was the first thing we made.
I should get one of those for me.
Yeah, really. What got me into Kydex, so when we started the company and we were only making apparel, I was doing Kydex, but it wasn't part of the business.
It was just like a side
kind of
thing.
And what inspired me to make it was two things. Concealed carry was really fucking cool.
Yeah. There's some games that do that.
Just like that whole thing, and like Liku Tactical and like T-Rex Arms and all those guys, they really inspired to be like, holy shit, like this concealed carry stuff is pretty badass.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, I was playing a lot at Sergeant Splatters at the time, and I had we're going back to the old gear stuff pre-evolution. I had a pretty shitty holster.
Was it a fabric holster?
It started out as a fabric holster, and this is mind you, this is like 2012, 2013.
Yes.
Where I was like, man, there needs to be something better.
Yes.
So we got the Blackhawk holsters.
The Serpas, right?
The Serpas.
Yeah.
And the problem with the Blackhawks, what led me to Kydex, was they weren't airsoft specific. You couldn't. I was using a SIG 226 at the time, and you couldn't get a Glock 17, and I know for the SIG 226, you couldn't get a 226 holster. You had to get like a 229 or something else. It wasn't.
Maybe it will fit.
And maybe it would fit, and that was the problem, was the trial and error. And of guessing which holster may or may not fit your gun. Yeah. So I made.
Did you also not like where the button was on the
The button I didn't mind, actually. Yeah? Okay. The button to me felt pretty natural, because even like this, I draw it like that.
Yeah.
So it felt relatively natural.
Yeah.
But that's what led me to making Kydex, because I wanted a holster that was airsoft specific, that would work with my gun, and that wasn't going to fall out. So like fabric holster falling out, airsoft specific versus the Blackhawk stuff. So that's what got me making it, and. We realized that it was a lot more, popular in a way with our client base to want Kydex over clothing. So then it's almost like, I guess over the past...
everybody loves guns.
Everyone loves guns, right?
Part of the gun, right?
Yeah,
Kydex,
so...
the holster and all that stuff.
And like you said, even with protecting your investment and stuff like that, around, maybe it was 2016, 2017, I sort of was doing Kydex a little bit. Around 2018... we started making it a thing for the company. So
really recently, actually.
So honestly, pretty recently. And when it came to sort of late 2018, it really felt like we were reworking our business.
Yeah.
So technically, Airsoft Collective has been operating since 2016.
Right.
The Kydex part has been our main focus for maybe about 2-3 years now.
Right.
And
back then, mostly it was like custom orders too, right?
It was mostly custom orders. A lot of small stuff. My friends here and there, and just. Aaron has one of my old 226 holsters.
Yeah.
And it just became, us sitting down and thinking, you know what, let's redo everything.
Yeah.
And it felt like starting over again, which honestly was a little bit weird. Like I wasn't a huge fan of the idea of, oh man, like we're starting over, but we had a little.
That, though. You need
and we needed it. And
look at the field here. We had to start over again, kind of.
Yeah. So and it brought us to where we are now, which I'm happy with, and we're only planning on growing. So.
Yeah.
That's what it came down to.
So basically, you designed this because you found a gap in the airsoft market where people didn't really have great holster options outside of buying like super expensive real steel holsters that were hard to get in Canada.
Yeah.
In the U.S., you guys have no problems. But
in
Canada, we got ITAR and all that complicated stuff.
Lame.
And also just like coming from bad user experience from like a lot of a lot of previous gear, like the fabric holsters and stuff.
Yeah.
And
I've broken way too many guns.
Yeah, and I'm gonna keep saying it. It's 2021. Don't buy a fabric holster.
Even just my Kydex aside, there is way more options.
Yes.
Than ever getting into a fabric holster.
Yeah.
There's even with repro brands that are making fake
Safari
lands, just go get one of those then.
Yeah.
But protect your gun.
Yeah.
Don't get a fabric holster with the buckle that's gonna. No, it's not.
Because the holster is your pistol's safety,
yes.
and it's when you need your pistol. You're gonna rip it out, right? And you have all these buttons and stuff you don't want to fumble around with. And then when you put it back, that's the big thing. Drawing it, sure.
Yeah.
But putting it back, it's like.
Yeah. Drawing out of a fabric holster was again relatively easy.
Not great.
But then you had to stop and do your shit back up again, and that was where a problem could have been.
Yeah. And people are spending how much on their pistols nowadays with race guns and stuff.
Honestly,
like that?
yeah. Even high kappa builds are.
That's probably $600-700.
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, well, there you go.
I don't want to talk about it. But even look,
RWA.
This is something closer to that. Yeah. RWA did a great job getting licensing for stuff like agency arms, and you get the compensators now, and the slides, and the sights, and
a light,
triggers, and then lights, and it became more than just having an airsoft pistol. It became having a sort of your own personality, your gun, and to be able to have something that's actually going to protect it. It makes a huge difference.
Good sling for rifle.
Good sling for rifle. Good
holster
for pistol. Absolutely.
Yeah, that makes sense.
100%. Same thing.
So, what kind of holsters do you develop, and what's maybe the process around it? If you can disclose that as much as you can, at least.
Yeah. So, when it came to originally making the holsters, it was very gun specific. I had to use the gun that was going to be in the holster at the end user. I had to use for the molding process, which made it kind of hard.
So you used the press,
So we had to use a press. So if you wanted a TM Glock 19 like yours, I would need a TM Glock 19. Mm-hmm. If I didn't have a TM Glock 19 in the shop, I needed to buy one or borrow one. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's where I sort of wanted to evolve it a bit more, was because I didn't want to have to take a customer's gun, and then when it came to big orders, I wanted consistency.
Yes.
I didn't want to take, I didn't want to get 3 Glock holsters and have them all look slightly different. Your Glock holster and my Glock holster are the same.
Yes.
And that's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah. Of course, making these holsters and stuff like that is quite a process.
Yeah.
How'd you get into that process, and what kind of products do you make? Give me a little bit of a history of actually the product.
Yeah. The first holster I ever made was 2 guns. A Glock 19 for IWE, and then it was a Glock 17 with an Inforce APL.
Okay, that's really hard to find holsters for, is the APLs.
So at the time they were like the big light. You know what I mean?
Now people,
Well, they're sort of phasing out that light, and they're getting into their new Wild series, which is cool. Very unique looking light for sure. So I made those first, and it was a traditional foam press.
Yeah, like you see on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, and I had to have the gun with the light there, and that had to be the one that was going to be in the gun at the end of the process. And I found that it made it hard for customers to sort of go with that maybe weren't my friends, because then they'd have to send a stranger a gun.
Right.
Mold
and if
it,
you're just starting out new, you don't have a reputation, so it's you need a reputation.
100%.
People trust you, but you need people to give you stuff to do to get a reputation,
Absolutely.
Right?
So we went ahead to get these molds created that were universal for the most part, and that fit not necessarily a variety of guns. We wanted to get the more popular guns out
Glock
of
High Kappa.
Glock High Kappa, and M17, 226.
Right.
We're gonna get 1911 and M&P and all these other popular but not as popular as Glock and High Kappa, which tend to be the biggest.
Yeah, those are the big two. It's like AK and M4.
Yes, 100%. So that being said, we went ahead and sort of pushed to get the molds and new tooling in terms of the vacuum press and the vacuum pump and to what we have today, which is a nice, clean, concise vacuum press holster.
It's a super clean holster, and one thing that is really important for Kydex is going to be the retention, because it doesn't have a switch or a button or any form of active retention. It's a passive retention holster.
Yes.
Right? So how did you what did you really want from that kind of that feel?
I wanted security, and I wanted that little click.
Ooh, yeah.
The little click was the big one.
That's pretty.
It's satisfying. It's a satisfying feeling,
yeah.
And even with and you can really go at it. I don't know if I just did this or not, but when it came to our light bearing series, we wanted to go with lights that were popular and acceptable.
Yeah.
So like acceptable in a sense that it was easy for people to get them, whether it was real or repro.
Right.
So the TLR one was the first one we came with. The real steel one, it's around $200. It's pretty it's relatively affordable, and if you don't want to spend the $200, you can spend the 80 or 100 somewhere else.
The repro TLRs are actually pretty good.
The repro TLR is pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, the holster is made for a real one. There will be slight differences in a fake one versus a real one, but more or less it will fit. There's the click.
Yeah.
I didn't tighten this one very much, but yeah,
well,
there you go.
Yeah, and of course, mentioning tightening, because airsoft pistols are slightly different. You know, people like different levels of retention. You can tighten these as well, right?
Yeah.
So they have like these screws over here that have a screwdriver here. Yeah. And you can just tighten it, and they have these little kind of rubber stoppers.
Spacers. Yeah. So we have spacers set up between. So this is a TMG17, obviously with a compensator. We designed it to have an open end, specifically for that.
Yeah.
For compensators, for threaded
tracers, especially.
Tracers we're working on to get a little more consistency out of, just because, especially with like a lot of the recent ones that are coming out, they have that pretty big gap between where the tracer would sit and the barrel, and then the slide.
Right.
It is something that we do want to visit in the future.
Okay.
We're trying to get the guns out first.
Right.
The things that are more.
Product.
Yeah. I have made tracer holsters before. They're not super fun to make, but it's doable.
Yeah. Well, nothing new ever is.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, so we designed the open end to allow that spacers and retention screws. Just sort of allow for different guns. Again, this is a TM17. There's Armor Works. And all of them will have different sizes in a sense. Different
That's airsoft for
specs. Yeah. So the ability to have sort of a pretty much universal Glock high Kappa holster, just as a few examples, was something that we really had in mind as users would sort of take the product, because they wanted to be able to do that.
And what I find interesting is you even have like space for an RMR.
So that was a big one too. Was RMRs, not that they're super popular in airsoft, but
they're getting there though.
They're getting there.
Yeah, because they're awesome. Sure. Yeah.
So to have that cut to allow
future proofing.
Yeah, future proofing to allow that sort of window, that little base mount to sit in even on the high Kappas, was sort of a big thing for us when we went into it in terms of designing, along with mounting options. Mounting options for the gun specifically, they fit most, like Safariland, Blade Tech, G Code. They fit pretty much all of these, again with this Safariland fork, just to allow different ways.
And now Tech Lock here on this one.
Yes, and then so Tech Lock, that's for Blade Tech.
Yes, Blade Tech.
These cinch clips made by Warfighter are what comes stock with all our guns. As you can see, my belt here can be flipped upside down for like a sort of
you can have it kind of as a high ride holster like this.
Right up, true
and
OWD.
I just literally discovered you can flip these around, and I'm like, and the mid ride, and I'm gonna put this on my belt now, and that's gonna be a lot of fun.
So these work with MOLLE. They work with belts such as this, which it's got MOLLE, I guess still.
Yeah, that's Persec.
So this is another again Canadian gear maker, Persec, one of his belts, and you've got yours doesn't have MOLLE, but it still can close to pinch right around the belt loop, belt, which is exactly what I was going for in terms of
modularity.
Modularity and sort of ease of access to customers.
Yeah, this is really cool.
I wanted something that they can, they don't have to spend an arm and a leg for to make it just fit their belt or their kit.
Also, in addition to these holsters kind of being the bread and butter, you also have some toppings, which is going to be your mag carrier over here. And these are pretty sweet as well. Yeah,
so mag carriers were a big one too, just because I wanted the adjustability. The first one I actually ever made was an MP5 one. It's because I've run an MP5 quite a bit. Yeah. I wasn't happy personally with the way the foam press was working in terms of getting like a nice tight little package. I wanted something that was secure and pretty streamlined when sitting on kit.
Yeah.
So I got these made first, and then M4 and AK came literally almost right after.
Yeah, I remember this is actually one of your prototypes.
Yeah, that was one of the ones I gave you to test out for me. And so then again,
an M4 one over there. Yeah.
Now the one I think.
And these also have the same features, different attachment points, and adjustable for tension and everything like that.
And so the holes on both sides, if you can see them there, but there's holes on the front and back which allow for multiple things.
Does it allow for ambi?
Yeah.
Basically. Wow, that's cool.
So yours doesn't have it because you're the tester, so I know which ones were not.
Yeah.
But so you can either take this off and put it on the other side, run it on the right
if
side.
you're lefty or if you're righty, yeah.
And the mag can be put in both ways.
Oh!
On the M4 one, not an
AK one. No.
Probably not.
Well, just because of the lips here. But the M4 one, yeah. And
the M4 one's MP5 one is specific, just like the AK, because the curve can only be inserted the one way.
But you shouldn't, like, I mean, as an aside, who the hell reloads their MP5 like this?
Well, you know.
Sorry.
No,
just want to say, it's like, yeah. But yeah, like, these are pretty sweet. You have...
So the pistol one is the one I like to talk about specifically. I'm pretty proud of this one in a sense, just because when it came to sort of making pistol holsters, I was using, you mentioned earlier about wearing maybe 2 pistols. When I started doing Kydex, I was wearing 2 pistols.
Right.
Because I had my Blackhawk holster, but I wanted to test the Kydex.
Right.
So I would wear a Glock OWB right above my.
So you had your control holster holster, and you had like your testing holster.
And I had my gaming holster, then my testing, my testing holster. Yeah. But when it came to the mag carriers, I didn't like the fact that I had to take, I didn't like the fact that I had to make a specific mag carrier every single time.
Right.
And as much as, that's cool, like to have something built specifically for your gun, it wasn't cost effective for me as a business and for you as a player.
Mm-hmm. So for AG mag's not a big deal because it's like...
For AG it's not. But I was using a 226 and a Glock and a little bit of a high cap at the time.
Yeah.
So with our pistol mag carriers, they feature a magazine retention device that runs along the front of the mag, along the BBs. Little tiny Allen key here applies pressure to the front of the mag, allowing for different retention. So I can take this mag out.
Whoa. That actually, you didn't show me this.
No?
No, you didn't show me this ever.
I can loosen this up.
Yeah.
And now my high kappa mag fits right in. Little micro adjustment.
Yeah.
You can just adjust.
So what does that part pitch to?
So it pushes right against, right over here.
The follower channel.
Yeah. So it doesn't affect your follower at all,
no.
because the follower is slightly recessed, if not level.
Yeah.
But you're pulling the mag out. Mm-hmm. It's not hitting anything in the way. And there you go. Extra tension.
I haven't looked at this.
Absolutely.
This is new to me. Oh, I see.
So that screw pushes
so
inside of it.
It doesn't press on this. It presses on this whole surface.
Yeah, not just the follower.
That makes sense. All
yeah.
right.
It presses on the whole front of the surface of the magazine.
Oh, wow.
And then you can make micro adjustments with an Allen key.
So you can make it as tight or loose.
As tight or loose as you want.
Yeah.
So I personally like a little bit of a firm pull. I like that added security.
Yeah.
Now it can be inserted both ways if on the fly.
Yeah. But
recommended is the BBs touching the mag device at the front. The reason why is because the gas.
Yes.
Your valve along the back of the magazine will actually, over time, not instantly, but over time, start to chew up the plastic on the inside that runs the retention on the mag.
Right.
Just because it's got this sort of harsh corner right through the top.
Mm-hmm. These are all really cool. What kind of colorways do you actually offer? Because I know that's something that people really get passionate about is the colors and the looks and stuff. Yeah, so with colorways that are sort of readily accessible or will be readily accessible on our site when it's up, which is soon. Yes.
Okay. We will offer black, tan, green. So black, darker.
So all the common colors.
Black, tan, green. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
In terms of so that's the green, black, the tan. It's not quite a coyote brown. It's almost like a mix between khaki and coyote brown.
Right.
Just to sort of accommodate to the different, because 50 Shades of FD, right?
Yeah.
You'll never get it. You'll never get it.
So good. Yeah.
And in terms of printed camo, we have carbon fiber black, so I guess such as this, and then we'll have multicam and multicam black.
Okay.
And those will be readily accessible for anyone who wants to place an order.
Right.
If you were to want red, or orange or purple or real tree, whatever, these things are available. If you wanted something like that, you'd have to reach out to us, email us, DM us or something.
See if you can source the material.
Oh no, we can definitely get it. It's just because it's not super popular.
Right.
It's not something. It's
a special order.
Yeah, it's more of a special order thing. We can make you anything on this table in a real tree camo if you ask us for real tree, but we won't have on hand to be made to order right away.
I see.
So it's one of those things that it'll take an extra week or two, and then you'll get it in the camo you want. Just it's not something we keep on the shelves.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What kind of products do you have coming up? Can you share anything?
Yeah. So in terms of products coming up, we have two. Or sort of two. We have a competition style mag carrier. So definitely shorter than its predecessor, and also able to be mounted at 75, 45, and 90.
The angled draw and the angled reload.
So to hit that angled reload off the front.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Super popular nowadays.
So yeah, so it was something that not that I missed the mark on with this. I was very, very much going for something very standard. Let's get in, get out, let's get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, let's have this be for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely going to be a lot more mission specific. I know with guys over at Action Air Canada, they do a lot of that Airsoft IPSC stuff. And
Action Air,
yeah. They can sort of benefit from something like this where it's very specific to their niche. Not to say that someone like you, yourself, or myself wouldn't, but it's
task specific.
Yeah, task specific.
Yeah.
I have them set up on all my belts. This one is from my belt.
Yeah.
Right now, just like currently run them. We're going through the testing phases for this. See if there's any changes we want to make or sort of even mounting solutions for them, and we're gonna go from there. And that'll be released in due time.
Okay.
The other one that we're releasing is, you have the TLR1 molds version of our holster molds. We are releasing X300U molds, which right now we have M17, we'll have Glock 17/19, and High Kappa.
Yeah.
So it sort of came from, the decision came from which light do we want to do first.
Right.
The more accessible Real Steel and Repro light
is the TLR,
which is the TLR, or still same thing, but we found that a lot of people really reached for the TLR first, just because again it's cheaper and a great light.
Yeah, you can buy them on Amazon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not that you can't get this stuff sort of at your local retailer or online, but it's
the X300's a bit rare.
Yeah, it's a little more. It's the most commonly used light, I'd say, but that was the one we wanted to reach for first in terms of being more common. I feel like there's different niches when it comes to like a TLR one. You get a lot of the guys that do Speaky that they all run the TLR one. I don't know if it's because the paddle or just because the light's bright and it's cheap.
I think honestly it comes down to accessibility, man.
Yeah, accessibility too, exactly. And even with myself, I'm a fan of the X300. I prefer the buttons of it.
Yeah,
more so than the paddle.
Yeah.
I prefer that the fact that you can sort of push it forward and
and you can switch.
And you can switch it on and off.
Yeah.
Right.
So what are the challenges with designing a holster around a light? That are not specific, that are more specific to this kind of design.
The challenges really just come from getting consistency in the retention. With
the holster that clicks with the light on it, it's like that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Listen to it.
Yeah. Yeah, nice.
So yeah, that's really the big one, and then the consistency again. When you look back at foam presses, you're putting the gun in, you're molding it, and then you're taking the gun out, and then you're going all over again if you want to make more than one, let's say, right? So the consistency was a big thing that we wanted to offer. So having light bearing models that carry that consistency was something that we want to focus on too.
So you're able to do the light bearing models with the vacuum press?
Yes.
That's
this is all with
cool.
the vacuum press. Same with that one.
That's really cool. That's something that I think a lot of people don't really know about, is how to get these clean lines is done in a vacuum.
Yeah. Not that you can't get clean lines with a molding, like a traditional foam press. These clean lines are.
But the vacuum, it's like you're sucking out all the air, and you're getting that super clean mold.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get one of these when I get a light for my pistol.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I really want one of these. These are super cool. Just because I didn't expect the Kydex light holster to be so positive with its click.
Yeah.
And with I didn't really even expect them to be able to support lights, to be honest, because that's something you don't really see.
Yeah, I think with with guys with big guys like T-Rex arms, they make it sort of not unobtainable in any way, but like you see something really cool like the companies like that are doing, and I know a lot of airsofters, LARPers in a sense, right? They want the same or a similar product. And, to be able to offer that Canadian made from a local guy, I think is worth something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you play here, you played at local fields. That's pretty cool to be able to have these kinds of products. You know where they're coming from.
For sure.
And you take care of people, right? If people are unhappy or
honestly, I definitely do try to. I mean, customer service is a huge thing in any industry, realistically. With Airsoft specific, we are our own niche within itself, right?
Yeah.
So to be able to sort of offer that to customers in terms of quality service and customer service is important to us as a business. So
I know you got the price list out, because I know a lot of people probably ask, how much are one of these holsters? How much is a mag carrier? So if I wanted just like a basic holster for a Glock or a high cap, how much would that be?
So a basic holster would run you for a Glock high cap and no light would run you $74.99 before tax.
Okay,
and that would cover your three basic colors, black, tan, green. If you wanted special order color like red or orange, same pricing still. If you wanted something like multicam or multicam black, you're looking at $99.99. Okay. And that comes with the cinch clips that are mounted on your current holster. All set, ready to go.
Yeah. I mean, that might seem like a lot to some people, but in my opinion, if your pistol is costing $400 or $500, you're going to want to protect that investment.
Same with your sling, right?
Yeah, same with your sling. And you're also supporting local. You know where that money's going. It's not going to like a big box store. We love you guys there, but it's going to a local maker, and it's going to a more handcrafted product. Because you have your stores where you're like reaming out like the stuff, and you're like, you can see like melting down the sides and stuff like that, and like you're paying for that. Not just like it's just a holster. It's the pride of ownership, right? Yeah. And what about like a mag carrier or something like that?
A mag carrier. Our mag carriers are actually they run the same price all across the board, which as of right now is $44.99.
Okay.
Same thing in terms of color. Any color. So if you wanted black, tan, green, multicam, or carbon fiber, they'd be all the same price. So
really?
$44.99.
Okay, so it doesn't matter what pattern or color it is.
In the mag carriers, no.
Okay.
$44.99, and it comes standard with tactical tailor malice clips, all across the board for any color you would want. So,
do you offer like tech locks and things like that?
The tech lock is an awesome piece of hardware. It's not something that we currently offer that is ready to be purchased on our site. If a tech lock was something you'd be interested in, again, shoot us a DM. We can get it. It would come at an additional cost just because it is a bit more of a pricey piece of hardware. But it is an accessible product for us to get to you. So
same thing with like Safari Land clips. And
Safari Land is something that we definitely would like to carry as well. More so as our company grows and we can sort of get our hands on some good Safari Land.
And the pistol comes with these Warfighter
cinch clips. Cinch
clips, and these pretty much fit on anything. They can be used as a belt clip. They can be used as a molly mount. They can be used upside down.
Upside down, right side up.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah.
And even cool too, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Sure.
You could always sort of take them off and maybe put one up to the front here for chest mounted.
Oh, if you're doing some vehicle ops,
some guys doing some vehicle stuff.
Yeah.
Pinch it down.
And they cinch down.
Just depending on how tight your belt is.
And then they kind of like you lift and push to like unlock them, right?
You lift it up to the back.
Yeah.
And push.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. So that's the pricing for you.
Yeah.
How about for custom work? Or that depends.
Custom work depends.
Okay, so
custom
work
depends. Yeah. Custom work is when we're open to doing it. Give us a shout and we'll work with you and the best we can. One thing I didn't actually mention before was when it came to new products, we're actually getting a paintball holster.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're making a holster for a paintball guy.
So our paint boys, our paint brothers
our paintball brothers and sisters are gonna get a Kydex holster for the TR-50. It looks like the Hater revolver.
That is like a really cool paintball, and I hear the pistol, and I hear the paintball guys are going pretty crazy.
Yeah, so they're going pretty nuts for it, and I've talked to like the owner of Badlands myself, and he said when they're in stock, they're gone.
Yeah.
They sell fast, and I noticed right away that it was a very cool holster for it. And Joe Kimson from Flag Raiders initially asked me to make some for him, and I did, and it got a lot of attention when I did it. So that's what pushed us to sort of reach out and sort of branch out a little bit into something a little more specific.
That's super cool.
Paintball gun holsters could be something else in our...
Yeah. And are you still making wallets at all or no?
Yeah, so wallets we have, same thing, colors. Those are $19.99.
Oh, $20.
Yeah, $20. Yeah. And you get it holds 7 to 10 cards. And with an optional money clip will be an addition later on down the road.
Okay.
So mine has it. But right off the site, it will not. It's just going to be your standard card holder. Yeah. But it's something nice and slim.
Yeah. Most of the times people are cashless, especially with COVID nowadays.
Especially with COVID, people are cashless. I have it, and I don't even ever put cash in it, so I just don't even know if I need it. But I don't know. I have it. So I have it.
Yeah. But closing remarks. A lot of people are very entrepreneurial, including myself, including yourself, and they want to maybe start a small business in their passion. Could be airsoft, could be whatever.
Yeah.
As someone who kind of is in the process of that, what kind of advice, what kind of maybe remarks would you impart on someone looking to, I have an idea and I want to start making something, you know?
In a general sense,
I know it's a big like TED Talk question.
It definitely is. I think honestly the most blunt advice I could ever really give is just do it.
Yeah, like, I'm saying that.
Like it's you know, the fear of getting into it, you know, we went through it when we started our company, and I'm sure, you know, the Siege guys had the same not doubts, but the same feeling.
Oh, we have a lot of doubts. I'm having doubts right here, right now. Sitting here talking with you. Yeah.
No, man, fuck off. no, but in all seriousness, yeah, honestly, just to sort of really sit down and you know, you could always put that effort into your customer base and your marketing and your product, and you know, you need to find a product that is not being done or not being done enough or well enough, right? Mm-hmm. For me,
find that gap in the market.
Yes, right? And for me, that was Airsoft specific Kydex in Canada, right? And for anyone else who could be watching, yeah, just do your research and figure out what it is that you have and that you can bring to the table that can help other people, and yeah, just honestly just do it.
Yeah. It's
gonna be scary. It's gonna suck sometimes, but it's worth it.
You never know unless you try.
If you never know unless you try, and if you're passionate about it, you'll make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, there is something. I do technical on the side, right? Yeah. And there's something.
Yeah, Beige builds.
Yeah, there's something really satisfying about seeing someone on the field, absolutely ripping it with your work.
100%.
You know. Like,
yeah.
I'm sure when you see somebody with your holster, or when you see somebody with a mag carrier and they do like a sexy reload and they just like blast into people.
Actually,
it just probably feels awesome.
It's funny you say that. Two things that stuck out to me. A friend of mine, I told you this before. A friend of mine was at a car show. This is all pre-COVID, mind you, and he saw a guy wearing this hat, and he was taking photos of cars, and he stopped the guy and took a picture and sent it to me, and I remember like being so excited. Just knowing that someone else was wearing my hat, not in an airsoft setting on top of it. You know what I mean? Someone that I didn't know was wearing my gear, and my best friend saw this guy and was like, "Holy shit! Stop for a second. I gotta take a picture. I know the owner." And then even, you know, leading outside of that, last time I played airsoft at Barrie Paintball, I saw a guy with one of my original holsters and a dual mag carrier.
Old, like the old press ones.
Yeah, and I leaned over to my business partner. I was like, "Hey, that guy's got our holster on."
The Gen 1.
Yeah, like a true like Gen 1 holster. He goes, "No, he's not. That's not our holster." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's one of like the like OG when we first got into it. Yeah, that's one of them." And he was running it to this day, and it looked great, and he had a dual mag carrier too, and it felt really special.
Yeah, it
felt really special. So
that's something that's awesome.
I honestly, you don't get tired of it.
Yeah.
You really don't.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming out here, man. And we really hope to carry your stuff and,
Yeah, appreciate you having me.
See you in the future and have you on the field when it's all safe and good to go.
Yeah, definitely.
So, just to close off, guys, another closing remark, of course, is that the fight against C21 continues. We have links down below for those of you interested in signing the new petition or filling out the census. A little bit of this goes a long way to help us out, to save our sport and everything like that. That being said, stay safe, everybody. Have fun out there. Don't die, and we'll see you on the next one.